So we're talking about failures. I've had a couple of weeks of things going wrong and being in situations whereby it's not quite as easy to put them right again. So let me explain. So probably around about sort of 2 months ago now, I've been experiencing problems with my editing software. I use the Adobe Suite, so everything from Photoshop to Premiere Pro for editing, you know, everything in there, and I pay them a monthly subscription fee because you can't buy software anymore, so I have to pay them £50 a month. And about, like I say, for the last 2 months now, I've had problems with my computer, and I've changed computer 3 times and still the problems have persisted. Now Adobe don't really offer what, you know, the rest of the world calls support. They say go on our forums and other people on the forums will help you. So it's led me down the path which was around about 3 weeks ago now, which is deciding to move back to Apple. So an iMac and Final Cut Pro for editing. And because of that, it meant changing my computer, my laptop, and also at the same time, you know, because in for a penny, in for a pound and all that kind of stuff, I thought, well, let's just go for everything. I want to change my camera as well. The theory goes that around about 25 frames a second is what your eyes kind of literally take information at on average. So as you move around, there's a little bit of blur. Now as you move around a scene at 25 FPS, there's a little bit of blur. Now what happens is the US and the rest of the world and things like that, they all have different standards. So essentially some people film at 30 frames a second and some 25. So that's why sometimes, and my stuff included, because some of my equipment I can only film at 30. Say for example my drone and my iPhone, they only allow 30 frames a second settings. So when you put that on top of a 25 frames per second format, you get lost frames, 5 frames every second, and then as you move across a scene, it looks like it's jerking like that. And you see it in films as well. You even see it on the TV and stuff. The American stuff that's shot and then shown in the UK, it has that problem with it as well. As soon as you try and move across anything quite quickly, those 5 frames per second that you've lost become really evident. So anyway, what I thought was I'm going to move to a 4K camera that can film at 60 FPS to match my iPhone, and I'm going to change all my equipment so it all matches the same stuff. Yes, I know I can change my Sony camera to film at 30 frames a second. I can even change it to HD to film at 60 and even 120. But what I wanted to do is keep everything in 4K. I just think that the format just works best. I know about a year ago I did the old thing of HD against 4K and blah blah blah, and what the sad truth about it is the expectations of a tech YouTuber are that you should do everything in 4K. But when people want to look at their tech, they want to look at it in crisp 4K, vibrant colours, blah 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 blah. They want to see it as detailed and as vibrant and as powerfully imaginative as possible. HD just doesn't cut it. And specifically as well, going on to filming like the vlogs, the travel vlogs that we've been doing. So as you're driving around and you're sort of filming things, sometimes you're going past scenes, and to film at 60 FPS offers a greater degree of control to slow it down. And also, say for example, you know, you are filming a product or something like that and you're doing it handheld because it's difficult to do it with a gimbal or whatever reason, you can then slow it down to create a more stable shot. So anyway, the decision was made, going to Mac for editing and Final Cut Pro, and I'm going to set all my equipment up for filming in 4K and 30 FPS as my standard format for production, which means that if I can get 60 FPS at 4K, brilliant. A couple of cameras out there, and the one I chose was the GH5. Simply kind of because it was in my price range, and when I started my channel off it was with a Panasonic camera, so I thought, you know, I like Panasonic. The batteries last a lot longer than Sony, and there's no stupid 20 odd minute limit recording sort of limit on there, so it's just, I don't know, it just made more sense to go that way. So I'm back on a GH5 Panasonic. I say back on, it's new to me, as is the iMac, 27-inch 2017 iMac. I didn't go for the iMac Pro, again because of money, so I've gone for the 2017 iMac 27-inch. And I spent the week going over everything, so you know, I got absolutely used to the camera, got all the settings dialed in there. I notice I'm not getting kind of like the bokeh effect in the background here. It is a 2.4 aperture lens, not like 1.8 like the Sony was, but I'm going to work on that. I'm going to save up and I'm going to get a Sigma art lens, probably a 16mm 1.4 art lens, so just get that bit of bokeh behind me and stuff like that as well, you know, for product shots and things like that as well. So anyway, I'm all set. I have set up my laptop, I've set my camera up, I've got all my other devices set up, I've checked everything. Because the laptop's USB-C, Thunderbolt 3, I bought a SanDisk, the really tiny USB-C 500 gig backup drive, you know, sort of flash drive. The laptop's got 500 gig on it as well, so I figured with a terabyte and also my little terabyte drive on top, I'll be covered for, you know, storing all my stuff. Yeah, that didn't work out too well. So anyway, we've set off. I had a series of products that I was going to take with me on my trip to film, and it was probably around about halfway down the M1. Bear in mind I live in Manchester, so that's about 3 hours to 3 hours away. I realised I'd left my Edelkrone slider, which I do my shots on. I'd left the smartphone watch that, or the smartwatch that I was going to take with me as well. And anyway, I'd left things behind, left everything but one product. So there's a few product shots of one of the products I took and nothing really much else. But anyway, well, as we get into the trip and I'm filming things and get to the end of the first day, you know, plug all my devices in, back it all up. You've seen me do it before. Get my laptop out, get all the cards out of all my cameras. Bear in mind we had 5 on this trip. We had an iPhone 7 that was Mandy was using, my iPhone 10, a GoPro Fusion, a GoPro Hero 5, and obviously the GH5. Those are my 5 cameras, and basically got to backing them all up, no problem whatsoever. Got to the second day, got to backing them all up. Drive's full. Okay, there goes 500 gig already. So get my Samsung SSD drive out, copy some over that. So day 3, you know, I knew that my drive was full already on the laptop, so I needed to use the SSD. Got to moving things over there, and the SSD drive couldn't be read. Some of the memory cards couldn't be read. The 1 terabyte external drive I take everywhere, that couldn't be read either. So cut a long story short, after about 2 hours, in safe mode in Windows, and because yes, it's a Windows laptop that I carry around with me as a regular day-to-day laptop, it needs to be Windows because pretty much it supports all my devices and my job that I still have to do when I go away. That's why I've got a Windows laptop. So got into safe mode, and then I could start to see my drive, start to back up all my stuff, and that was great. I quickly realised then what it was a corrupt profile, a user profile. Made a new profile, and all of a sudden it could see 3 of my 4 backup drives. Strange enough, one of them still couldn't be seen, and to this day that drive is knackered now. For whatever happened, it's gone, which was all my 360 camera work for pretty much all of day 1 on the Tour de France. So I've lost all my GoPro Fusion footage, which is pretty awful. It's not kind of, you know, doesn't really ruin the films that I'm going to make or anything like that, but there were cool footage, you know, things that we did and things that happened and the roads that we drove on, all that kind of stuff. So that's annoying, but you know, carry on. I always carry spare memory cards and everything, so I put different memory cards in there, carried on, and basically just went through the trip. On the end of day 3, as I'm trying to back up, the second SSD drive basically was full as well then, so I couldn't bend back up to my 1 terabyte because it wasn't working. I'd lost a memory card from my GoPro Fusion, so that made it more difficult, although I had spares, but they were smaller. And now I had nowhere to store all the new stuff that I was recording. So on kind of day 4, bearing in mind we were away for 7 days, on day 4 I started to kind of have to limit what I was filming, which is awful really, because it's nice to just to press record and let everything run and capture it all, So I wanted to set all my cameras rolling and enjoy it and capture me enjoying it and capture the event and everything as well. So yeah, that was annoying. The most annoying thing since I come back is that I put the laptop you know, back on, plugged everything in, it worked fine. Even on the normal profile, I didn't have to be in safe mode or anything else. So I've got no idea what happened with that one. My 1 terabyte drive, I'm still looking at that one, but it looks like it's yeah, it's goosed. And the micro SD card, that is totally buggered and that's on its way back. I've arranged a return for that one and a replacement. So this video is all about, you know, what can go wrong and how you get past it, and you know, of all the things I took to back up everything I was doing, you know, sort of like 5 cameras, multiple memory cards for each camera, and then as well as a 500 gig drive in the laptop, there was another 500 gig SSD and another 1 terabyte hard drive for all the backup stuff. Now it ends up that I've got just shy of 800 gig of data to run through for a week of being away, which is, it's a lot. So there's 2 films. First film is all about the journey of going there, talks about, you know, sort of like preparation for it and finding where we're going, all that kind of stuff. And then the second film is us following the 3 days of the Tour de France in the Alps, everything that we got to see and everything that we did as part of the event as well. So those are the 2 films that'll be coming out quite soon, once I can get to all my editing. We've got another film on top of that, which again is all about camping related, and that is that we keep getting asked a lot about why we chose between the 3 different motorhomes that we've had. So that one's coming out hopefully this next weekend because it's the easiest one to edit. And then there's a van tour video as well, so that's 4 videos to work on, as well as all my tech videos. And that brings me into a point rather conveniently, which was that this week should have been at least 2 tech reviews because of the things I'd taken away to France, and I should have been working on and editing and getting ready and stuff, and I haven't got anything ready because well, I forgot 3 of the things, and the one that I took, I didn't really produce a review video of it at all. I've got some B-roll clips, a few little B-roll clips, but nothing else, because I wanted to, well, prioritise the space I had to store the data for the Tour de France stuff over doing the tech reviews. So sorry about that, it's kind of an apology video and a bit of a stopgap. I think this is the first time I've ever kind of failed at doing this, so I don't know if you have noticed, but there's normally never a gap. No matter whether I go away or what I do, there's never a gap in my videos, because I normally schedule them. So say for example, for the last few weeks before we went away, I was doing like 4 videos a week, so I could schedule in the coming weeks while I was away. I could schedule in a couple of videos for that as well, and that's the way I normally try to work. I do, you know, really put an effort in to my channel and what I do on it, to basically make sure that you guys, if you're ready for a video, you know, there's one there. So yeah, a bit of a channel update, bit of an insight into what goes on, bit of an insight into, you know, what you do when things don't go right and you end up in a situation where right now I haven't got a tech review video this week, but I hope I've entertained you. I hope I've made you understand that, you know, you can put your best effort in and make sure you've got everything ready, and still life will throw some shit at you, and it's just about how and where you brush it off so you can come out smelling as best you can. So yeah, hopefully this weekend will be the very first of the travel films for following the Tour de France, and yeah, resuming tech review videos back next week, all being well. So thanks for watching, take care, I'll catch you on the next one. See you again now, bye.